My man.
All right, guys. Guess what? It is time. It is time for what? It's time to turn down for what? Because we have an action-packed Zerg vs. Terran series here. It is the quarterfinals from Assembly. That is, of course, Assembly. It's the Republic of Gamers tournament. Big LAN over in Helsinki in Finland. Really cool to see them bring a big StarCraft 2 event. Which they haven't done in years. I actually competed there back in 2013. 6 years ago. Got sick at the event and played like absolute arse. I remember feeling like absolute crap and was so sad. Flew so far. I also got sunburnt on the day I arrived because I couldn't check into my place. I just went and was chilling out, walking around the city, and I lay down in this park and ended up falling asleep on a bench like a hobo. It was a really good bench, but it was in the sun, and I got slightly sunburnt in Helsinki, of all places. Anyways, that's kind of embarrassing as an Australian, in case you hadn't clued into that. That's a little bit embarrassing. Thank you, Jay McCarter, for the 30-month, guys. We've got to talk about this game, because guess what? It's the quarterfinals, and not just that, it's Serral, the world champion, up against Time, the up-and-coming Chinese monster, who's proxying two barracks up here. Serral, oh, his Overlord turned around just before he scouted it. Ooh, okay, so this was a double 15 racks, I believe, guys. Basically, very, very committed. As soon as you see that SCV, there's okay, Serral knows what he's up against right now. He's gone for a hatch pool gas. So he actually always goes for his pool a little bit earlier than those super greedy players. And he's just an absolute monster at holding this. 3 drones come down, and they do, of course, gonna force the cancel on that bunker. A little bit of repair there. Time cancels it. It's got the first Marine arriving now. Gas is down behind this, so he will be not looking to necessarily win the game, but he wants to try and get rid of this hatchery if possible, at least slow down Serral a whole lot. Serral here, he's pulling a lot more drones down. Looks like he's going to commit. Okay, Serral's going to commit. Time's got to run. He's got to run with those Marines. He cannot afford to let those Marines get surrounded, but he wants Serral to be taxed for pulling so many drones, but no, the Marines, I mean, good focus fire on them, but one Marine gets surrounded, another drone falling. Zerglings are now out. 4 drones go down. Only 1 Marine has fallen so far, but I think he's once again overstepped just slightly with those Marines. Those Zerglings going to jump on top, and even though that bunker is going to finish, I don't think he's going to be able to get on top of it because there's going to be 5 Zerglings on top of his barracks, and that bunker not going to be able to do anything. Serral has held on to his expansion. 19 workers. The factory's only halfway done. This is not what you want as Time. Seeing so many drones being pulled, Time really needed to be very conservative there. He needed to just pull it back a little bit. It's crazy, just the minute adjustments you need. If you see a Zerg pull that many drones and really chase you down to the low ground, you kind of need to just bail and sometimes even start another bunker further back. But essentially you need to back off, get your Marines together, come back slightly later, because as your Marines grow in number, their firepower becomes so good against these slow Zerglings. Once you get like 8 Marines, they're one-shotting Zerglings. I think it's what, 6? It should be 6. Yeah, 6 Marines can one-shot a Zergling. So once you get to 6, 7, 8 Marines, you start one-shotting Zerglings, being able to start a step backwards, and even as you lose a Marine, once they finally get into contact with you, you're still one-shotting them because you've got, still 6 Marines remaining. Say you start with 7, lose 1. So there's these real important kind of numbers you get to, and we saw Serral kind of engage 3 Marines that were wounded and just stop them from getting to that point. Now Serral has complete control. Creep spreading out, takes the 3rd base here. Serral loves this 3rd. He likes to take down these rocks and then have this big open area in front of it. The Terran can still push down here, but this is an inaccessible push path. The Terran has to come all the way down this side of the map to get onto this area, and it's not nearly as amazing as some other areas. Whilst this cliff here has been problematic for a lot of Zergs on their 3rd base. That cliff there, when tanks get in there and there's Marines guarding, it's so hard to get around and get rid of those tanks with Zergling, Baneling. Likewise, this cliff here has been utilized very well. This bit of terrain, tanks on the high ground, the low ground, all over the shop on this 4th base. So Serral getting creep out front here. It does allow him to take a 4th there and probably a 5th base here, but he could take it on either side and just expand along these edges of the map. Baneling Nest is on the way. Very delayed ling speed, about halfway done now. Serral's up at 36 drones, just kind of continuing on with that production. Meanwhile, looks like very quick medevac and a pack of Marines coming out, starting to clear up some map vision for Time. I like this, a bit of flexible harassment. He's kept his Hellions at home. It's 4 Hellions for now. There is no armory, but he can do a cute little Hellion drop and actually swaps out the Marines. I like that. Loads Hellions up. He's going to go for a Hellion drop, but look at the Ring of Vision from Serral. Serral sees everything that's going on. Absolutely everything. So time's going to be coming across with this Hellion drop. It will be spotted. Where's the Lings? They are there. Ling speed finishing just in the nick of time. There we go. Ling speed kicks in as this drop gets spotted. Lings will be underneath it. Won't even get a chance to unload. It's going to have to unload on this third base. I like the positioning from Serral. And Queens are there to intercept. Too risky for time to dive in. Doesn't know where the Zerglings are. He's going to go for the main and once again find himself blocked. Serral here, just shutting him down at every turn. And even sliding a few Zerglings in. Where are those Marines? They're up on the ramp. Good reaction by time. He quickly walls off to make sure in case there's more of these Zerglings coming. Serral, he's looking for the scout. Doesn't get in there. Serral wants that information right now. You can see he's looking for more drops coming across. Queens here, just kind of pushing back that medevac. The medevac's still just bouncing around here, looking to exert pressure, but doesn't want to throw the units away. At the very least, time is forcing Serral to be safe, of course. His big problem is the fact that, yeah, what's he got? A one tank push. That's a cute timing. Bunch of Marines in a tank. I just feel like Serral here is being very safe. He stopped at 54, 55 workers. He doesn't have that many gas geysers. He's just going up to a total of 4 gases. Massing Ling Bane right now. Only now starting his Evo chamber. So Serral very careful in how he's playing this out. Hellion's going to drop. Marine's going to stim in. Queens are out in the open a little bit. Ooh, one Queen doesn't get transfused. They are going to get caught. 2 Queens out there. Serral a little bit surprised by this. He's only got 4 Banelings right now, guys. And there we go, the tank siege, the Marines, the Hellions darting in here. Time wants to fight right now. The Hellions focus firing the Banelings and actually standing up front completely unafraid. The third base so low, transfuses landing. He needs to keep that third alive. Serral cannot afford to lose his third. It's gonna go down. Time. He's even gonna try and save that tank, unable to get it unsieged in time. You can see that medevac was waiting to pick it up. Gets the third base snipe. Serral immediately drops a fourth, rebuilds the third, even whilst that fight is going on. Remember, there's no third command center behind this, so that keeps time in the game for now, in that it's 2 base versus 2 base, but Serral's still got a big drone advantage, and that's going to give him a good position. He's got a big amount of Ling Bane, he's got Bane speed almost finished, going to give him a lot of maneuverability. Time's trying to create problems, he's trying to create gaps here in the creep spread, open up paths for future pushes. Serral pushing it back, replenishing creep pushing through the middle. And an Overseer is going to come through as well. He needs to see what's going on. Serral's trying to figure out what is happening. Is there a third command center? He's going to see an engineering bay, a second one. So he knows, okay, double upgrades, definitely a sign of macro, but he still hasn't seen a third base yet. And I think Serral really knows it's just a lot of aggression for now. He's already on 60 drones. All he's got to do is build units and stop these incoming pushes. Another tank and a pack of Marines, but so much creep out here. It's going to take a while for that much creep to recede. You can see it on the edges slowly falling back. But yeah, time has to take a very reserved position. I love this little nook for the tank. Hard for Zerglings to surround it. Marines coming forwards. Taking out more and more creep tumors. Always a medevac escorting those Marines. Serral going to backstab. I'd love to see a backstab. He's going to go for it. There's a third command center behind this. Only single upgrade started for both players, despite them both having double Evo chambers. That shows just how action-packed this game is. Serral's going to kind of come in there. A few Zerglings cleaning up that one. He's looking for units as they come on the map. He doesn't want to run into siege tanks behind the natural wall. Serral is one of the most conservative players when it comes to backstabs of late. Really doesn't like to throw those units away. He just likes to ensure there's no reinforce coming and then collapse from all sides. A slightly disjointed push, but oh, great focus fire by time. How the hell did he? No. What the hell? I mean, those Lings on the back, I was saying they were slightly disjointed. They came in at a slightly different time. He used them to wrap around, but time just focused down so well with the tanks and the Marines, focusing down the Banelings and not letting them connect here. He's gonna have to evacuate at this point, I think, but no, gets off creep. The stim still good there. Medevac's gonna have to heal up these Marines, so wounded. That tank worth its weight in gold right now, 19 kills, and I'd love to see time evacuate. He needs more units to group up with this. I think he should pull back. He's gonna move forward. Time, I think you might have gone too deep here. The Marine's gonna come forward. He's gotta focus those Banelings, does focus them down nicely. That's too many Queens, all in range of the tanks and medevacs. Ling's coming forward here as well. He's gonna pick up and back off, losing that tank, very expensive, but there's 2 more behind it. Most of the Marines are still up. +1 attack versus +1 melee. Serral accidentally, I think, getting the less important upgrade. Carapace is usually more important for, of course, keeping the Banelings and Lings alive against these Marines. Tanks and Marines going to come forward. They're once again sieging this tank in a very aggressive frontal position. And there we go, the Banelings coming forward. Can the tanks take them down? Banelings looking for the Marines. Time with some immaculate spreads. His Liberator unable to siege. The tanks have gone down. The Marines trying to continue to force the fight. He's out of siege tanks. That means he doesn't have the ability to siege from afar. The Liberator adds something, but the Banelings do find a connection. The Liberator is gone. It's just Marines and one medevac out of energy now. Serral knows he can wait this one out. He's got the transfuse. He's got a lot more Zerglings in production. Another tank comes in though. Each time one of these tanks comes in for time, his ability to just siege this base is renewed. The ability to bait Serral into the fights and to say, hey man, I'm taking more efficient fights than you over time. Bring it on. Still not using his second engineering bay. He does just have +1 attack. Oh no, he actually did get +1 armor in the midst of that. Big Zergling counterattack, finds a tank. Oh, that's a big pick off. There are not a lot of tanks, but at the same time, a drop in the main is taking out workers. Oh, this game's getting crazy. Lings in the mineral line doing big damage right now. Marines are slowly going to clean that up, but these Marines a little bit slow to react. The Marines in the main, oh, they don't quite get the spawning pool. It survives on red hit points, and those Zerglings of Serral pull back to fight another day. This position still here, but looking very vulnerable right now. Serral says, let's jump on it, but a bit disjointed there. He probably thought those units had gotten out of there, and indeed time is going to back off. He cannot fit all those units in the medevac. So a bit of a refugee path down around the bottom of the map. Ling's coming back in. Time here, so focused on keeping the aggression up. Does not have units there. Serral also so conservative with his run bys. Ooh, Ling Bane runs in, but the reinforcement comes in, ends up being a bit of a pincer. Serral quick to withdraw. Banelings looking to flank from the left, coming in from the top. He knows the tanks aren't sieged. He's going to take advantage of this. Serral's going to go for it. Was this over eager though? Gets one tank. The other tank stands strong. A lot of the Banelings go down. This tank on 14 kills. Every tank so beautiful with the way it works with these Marines. +2 attacks about to come in here, guys. And I do think that's the more important than +2 melee. So as that comes in about 20 seconds, that's going to be very useful. He's going to doom drop the main. Absolute psycho. Time is just going madman style. He says, I've got momentum. Let's run with it. I've only got one tank there. It's not a lot. Baneling's going to find the mineral line at the same time. Quick reaction from time. He only loses 8 SCVs there. That could have been a lot worse, but it is still economic damage, but he answers in kind. The layer goes down. The tank finally gets surrounded on the left-hand side. Serral not forgetting about that. And time here, he's got position. Might get a few drones from the high ground. Oh, only one Marine can actually reach from there. Serral just pulls back the drones. Oh no! Time! Oh, about 20 Marines go down. He had so much momentum going for him, but every unit's so valuable. Oh no! Oh, one very big misstep. Definitely not one you can afford. Tank on the high ground's protecting. Well, it's not protecting, it's punishing the Zerglings, but it really does not do that fast enough. A lot of SCVs go down. It's just a 39 SCV Terran up against a 53 drone Zerg. Time has got to take out a base. He's got to get in there. He needs a good trade. There's only one tank. The Marines trying to get away from these Banelings. Good focus fire, but there's too many. There's too many. He picks up at the last second. Time with some fantastic micro, but his third base is looking bare. Serral holds on to his new third. His fourth is up and mining. He's got a fifth up in the north. Serral rolling with the punches very well. Rebuilding his lair right now. He does, fortunately, have +2 carapace started before the lair went down. So he's got 2-2 up against 2-1 upgrades now. Serral takes the upgrade advantage. Marines coming in though. And this medevac Marine micro is really spectacular. It's giving time, you know, a continuing position. I love that. Was he actually thinking about fake dropping there? But there's no main base left. Serral's entire main is gone. Oh, very nice. No cancel. Snipes that base. Time runs in down here. Unfortunately, he misses one creep tumor. The bane of a Terran player, missing a creep tumor with this game. He's going to try and trade here by spreading out the Marines. He realizes there's not that many Zerglings. So he says, look, I'll just spread trade Marines for Banelings. Because the only way spreading out gets punished as a Terran is if they have enough Zerglings to jump on top of your Marines as they split up and spread out. The Zerglings can surround them individually, take them down very quickly. But that was a lot of Banelings that went down. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of those Banelings hit 2, 3, 4 Marines. It wasn't a perfect split. It's not like the same as when you're dropping Marines on top of Banelings that aren't microed and you're setting off 2 Banelings per Marine. It was not that level of trade for time. I think it was an acceptable trade, but it did give up some momentum, and that's always the dangerous thing when you're looking at a Zerg who's a mineral line up from you. And I mean, look at the minerals of the Terran. 3 mineral line patches left in the main, 5 in the natural. Third still reasonably healthy, but as meals drop, that's going to be going down. And another roll-in of Banelings could be devastating. We see similar workers on both sides. No distractions here for time, and no distractions. Yeah, he even sends 3 SCVs to go fight. He says, blow up on us! Leave the rest of us alive. Throwing themselves on the grenade. The Drilly Boys. Legends. taking one for the team. This is a lot of medevacs here, guys. I'd love to see those tanks siege a bit more conservatively this time. Yeah, this is a bigger army. That also means you're dealing with a much bigger clump of banelings, and it's all about the banelings. Can they find the connections? Tank on the high ground again. SCVs need to get out of there. SCVs need to get out of there. Time actually scares him off there. Main base floating down to the 4th here. Utilizing that liftoff to reposition the base. Few Marines up front. Uh-oh, Banelings on the back. Banelings on the back. Serral wants to collapse on this, but he does not have a lot of Zerglings. And they're going to go in. The Banelings need to find the Marines. The Zerglings need to find the tanks. The tanks are not really going down. Finally, they do end up falling there. Not after getting quite a few volleys off. Was it worthwhile for Serral? He's still got a lot of Ling Bane left. His drone count's still okay. He did, of course, lose 7 workers to a Liberator in the top. Oh, beautifully timed Liberator there. The Spore Crawler is going to damage that one. He's going to re-siege it just in the same position, making sure he forces Queens up to that base, or at least some APM to reposition the Spore. Marines do take a couple Baneling hits. Spore's going to reposition. Oh, Time is on point here. He's like, nope, 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 nope. I'm a dickhead. I'm going to keep repositioning this. Beautiful play from Time. Time is getting so good, guys. So good. I was saying yesterday, Ooh, Link's coming in. Nice little wraparound from Serral. Just gets a few stray Marines while Time's distracted. I was saying that Time is kind of like one of these Chinese players who shows so much promise, and he's been living in Korea at certain times and training there. I believe he's been to the team house a few times. Did he qualify for GSL? I feel like Time qualified for GSL 1 season, maybe 2 seasons. He's really good, and the thing is, in the past I've seen a Chinese player kind of come out of nowhere, because we don't get to watch a lot of Chinese games usually. Obviously on Chinese websites where it's, you know, super laggy for us to watch through the firewall. But players like Ayasonu, Cyan have shown such good play in the past and been these absolute heroes of the Chinese scene for 1 or 2 tournaments, and then they've just kind of disappeared very quickly. I don't know if they've retired or what, but I'm really hoping Time sticks with it, because I feel like he's making it well beyond the level either of those guys ever made it to. As I say that though, Serral here just bouncing into action, not going for the Baneling run-bys anymore that are so costly. It's just Zerglings on both sides, and the damage is devastating. Time jumps into the main base, but this is all in. He's gonna lose a command center. Yeah, he's just lost both mineral lines. Oh, Time. I mean, he's got this amazing position above 2 bases here. This is a nightmare for Serral to engage into. You've got to keep enough Marines on top of this ramp. Serral cannot push up that ramp. He's going to try to, but that's very, very dangerous. That base still burning down behind this Time. Does have that mineral line back up and mining. He's still producing a lot of Marines right now. I mean, Serral's only on Queen Ling Bane, and he's got 11 Queens, but the tank on the high ground, the Marines up here, if there's just 1 or 2 more tanks, I feel like this would be so bad. As it is, Serral still does have that base and that base mining. Maybe he should be taking another base in the north. It's really hard. Right now he kind of has to backstab, and Time, he's going across the map just as the Ling run by comes in. He's like, hey, look, I've got to reinforce. I got to keep the pressure up. But every time he does, it seems like Serral kind of swings in there, and that base is going to float back, which is the right call. Double drop coming in on the north side, and this one's just going to have to veer around for now. Those SCVs trying to get out of there. More and more of them going down at the same time. Queens and Marines. Queens and Marines continuing to skirmish in the south. Too much going on. Times. Marines being taken out. 15 SCVs. Many going down to tank splash. You know, the single tank on the high ground, it takes out a lot of SCVs with splash damage, as much as it does punish those run-bys. And yeah, Time's out of steam here. He'd lost too many SCVs. He's going to tap out. As much as he's holding this position, he can't get rid of the other mineral lines, and he can barely secure 1 for himself. He is down in supply, and that is how it goes. GG, well played. Very nicely done there by Serral to survive an action-packed game when I felt like Serral was in a really good position after the early game. But Time just would not stop hitting that southern area. And I was like, oh, it's kind of a far push path. It's inaccessible. It's hard for Terran to get to. And it was hard for Time to reinforce. But holy crap, he used those tank positions so damned well, guys. That was insane. That was insane in the membrane. All right, we're going to hop straight into the next game. Thank you very much for the support, guys. Bergie with the 1500 bits here. Much love, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Jay McCann with the 30-month. Hey, Piggy, you're the best. Keep up the awesome work and great content. Thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate that. Tenma with the Twitch Prime sub, and XPyTX with the 10-month resub. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate the support. We already marked the start of the VOD Helix, but thank you very much for letting me know. Or did that actually not go through? Is that why you're saying it? Because I actually did mark it, but Yeah, I'll mark at the end anyway. So thanks for the reminder, dude. All right, thank you guys for hanging out. Let's introduce this game here. Ooh, thank you so much, Super Marmoto, with the 400 bits here. Appreciate that. We will turn the alerts off now for the game, but thank you so much, gang. Work, work, work. Me not that kind of work. Oh, don't touch me there. Serral is down here in the bottom right. Wins that game, feeling confident as the world champion. Up here in the top left, in the blue, it is Time. Chinese hero. As I was saying before that game picked up, Time is just so good at the moment, and I've seen him just crush through players like Scarlet in the past in tournaments. His timing attacks and his ability to just kind of put his foot on the pedal to the metal, full on aggression, stick his foot down and just keep going and going is insane. Some of his timing attacks, these weird like Hellions joining up with Marines. The way he does Hellbat Marine timings and that sort of stuff is so powerful. So love to see Time just showing some good games. Game number 1 there was a 2 racks, but this is going to be Thunderbird, and I love studying Terran build orders on this map because you see a very different range of Terran openings. We see people go straight Sky Terran. We see people go 3cc really early into double engineering bay and just go straight to 3 base bio tank. See people play lots of battlecruiser battle mech on here as well. Meanwhile, we often actually see Zerg skip the gas and go straight for a quick third. This time, not going to be the case. Notice though, Serral is scouting for the proxy racks. One Overlord went over here. Some people build their barracks there, float them over, or they build the barracks and then they mine through and run the Marines in from a surprising angle. Other times they proxy racks up here. So he's kind of scouted both of those angles. He even sent a drone out front to check there was no bunker building. So very safe, careful play by Serral. But that means he's got no info on what's going on the other side of the map for a long time. So he's just going to be building a couple Zerglings here. One's going to stay home. One's going to be his first scout. Sneaks out just before the Reaper arrives. And the drone does go in. The Reaper arrives. Yes. Oh. One Zergling goes down. A little slow on that pull. Third hatch has dropped though. Queen's going to pop out. And just good, careful harassment there by Time. He's got a fast factory down behind it. It was a barracks gas, of course, so not crazy fast. And a quick second barracks. Ooh, I think this is going to be one of these very, yeah. Third command center, only one gas. So second barracks. So it's a 3cc build, very economic build, but it's one that goes into a pretty fast timing. So this is basically, it's a 2-on-1 kind of, but I think... Is he gonna? I think he might swap that over. You might get 2 or 3 Hellions. It's kind of like, how can I both be greedy and hit a stim timing as quickly as possible? So he's like, these are the 2 things, you know, just 2 Marines early. The Reaper covering the other side of the map. Hasn't been able to deny any creep yet. Creep is spreading out. And yeah, reactor, and that builds a tech lab. No, misclick. Yeah, the barracks is meant to build a tech lab. So yeah, I think it'll be stim, and then we'll see a few Hellions build, and then a starport will swap onto that reactor, or maybe even build on that reactor, I believe. Cool build order, cool build order. Ling's working their way around the edge of the map. Serral wants to punish a potentially greedy opening here from his opponent. I've seen people literally just have like 5 Marines to the 5-minute mark in this map, in this matchup. So really good choice, I think, by Serral here, but 2 more Hellions are about to pop, and that's all you need. Serral says, whoop, no. And this at least gives him some information. He can say to himself, well, I know you're building Hellions. I have no idea what else is going on. The Marines are going to shut this info down, but at least he knows that much. Does not know about the fast stim. The scouting denial has been beautiful from Time here. And Serral not opting for OV speed. You know, he's not ensured he will get that scouting information. And so he's going to have to just play a very general style. He gets a safety baneling nest, spreading creep, building more queens. Actually not going too crazy on the queen count. I really like this. You'll see Sue do this a lot, where you just stay on 5 and then eventually 6 queens for a long time. And you just say, let's just drone really hard, tech really hard, have minimal units on the ground, and even skimping on queens, have just enough to get good creep spread, but no more than that. So you really, like, if a battlecruiser comes in, you're like, whoa, this isn't that many queens. That being said, Serral does start a 7th queen. So he's gonna add the insurance in just a little bit later than you normally would, and really focusing on this creep spread blossoming across this map. But Armory goes down. Yeah, he's gonna actually go Hellbats with it as well. And he's got, how many Hellions is it? 5 Hellbats it's gonna be with this push. So 2 Medevacs, 16 Marines, and 5 Hellbats. It's going to be a really fearsome 2-1-1 Stim Marine Hellbat timing. I talked to you guys about his Marine Hellbat timings. They're insanely good. His micro, he showed in that previous game, very powerful. Serral's going up a bit greedy right now. He doesn't really know exactly what's happening. He saw the 3rd CC, so he's like, all right, let's go 66 drones. But against this specific timing, you actually want to stop at about 60 and just make a big round of Banelings. Like, you need a lot of Ling Bane to make sure you're safe against this. If we take a look at the control groups, you can see that Serral has 4 Queens on his defense key, number 2. He's got 20 Zerglings. He does not have any Banelings. And that Medevac. Oh, the Medevac just went straight through that hole in his vision. He only sees it now. He's got to morph these Banelings. But Time's going to jump on that. Time's going to jump on that. Uh-oh. Had to cancel the first Baneling while 4th base is forfeit. That's for sure. Pull back, pull back, pull back. If those Baneling cocoons go down, he's in big trouble. He wants to save the Banelings, but Time! Brutal focus fire takes out all the Banelings! Oh my god, he threads the needle with the drop, avoids being spotted till the last second, and Serral caught with his pants down. Did he even know? Or was that pure luck from Time? Look at this. I don't think Time knew where the Lings were, but look at this. Maybe he knows that's just the best path, but it also, I mean, funnily enough, it's like basically the most direct path through the middle of the map, right? And it's just kind of funny that these Lings weren't covering this middle area. Oh, he did. He saw that Ling through the fog. I'll show you guys that one more time. You probably missed that. So check this out, check this out, check this out. This was really cool. So he's gonna see the Ling, and he's gonna change his path. He goes, oh, that's a Ling, go south, go south. So he changes his path slightly. That Ling doesn't quite see it either. Oh, and if he just started these Banelings a few seconds earlier, it would have made a world of difference. But he didn't spot it until like here or something. And that's just, oh, like I said, Serral was trying to go right up to like 66 workers, 4th base, double upgrades, all the rest of it. And you do want those things, but you've got to have your Banelings ready to clear the Hellbats out. And, oh, such a scary push. Such a scary push. GG ties up the series 1-1. Awesome. That was pretty cool. Just that little detail gets him a win there. Gets him a win. I mean, it would have been a hard time to stop. But that was like, well, now, actually, I just made it from a hard build for you to stop to you're dead. Serral not going to be happy with that at all. Master Faster Beta, thank you for the 6-month resub, my friend.
My man.
As well as Super Marmoda with that 400-bit share. We'll be, of course, playing these alerts at the start of the games, in between them. And thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that. Sip Ship, you're on 0-7 today. No more StarCraft for you. You're tilted. I feel that. That's when you pull out your cheesy builds, or you take a break, watch some games, and come back tomorrow with a fresh mindset, right? We've all been there, brother. Thank you very much for hanging. Thanks for hanging with us. Let's watch some gods play the game and revel in how much worse we are than them. Speaking of which, guys, going into game number 3 up here in the top left in the red, it's Serral. Representing NC Sports. And of course, down here in the bottom right, it's Time. Can we get a quick fact check, guys? What team is Time on? Jamie, can we look that one up? Just gonna try and remember if he's changed teams since the last time I cast him. I am gonna see if we can open that up on my second monitor actually while we do this. He's gonna be a Barracks Gas once again here for Time. Once again, Serral hunting around for proxy barracks with his overlords. He is on Newbie. I was thinking he was on Newbie. Awesome. He is still on Newbie. So Time's still playing for Newbie alongside Scarlet and Deer. And no doubt doing well in the Chinese Pro League. Pretty beastly team. Reaper production. That's a second Reaper? Is it? No. Okay. I was confused for a second. You know what just happened? I looked at that Reaper and then I looked at that Reaper and I was like, there's 2 Reapers building. And I was like, Pig, you realize that's the production tab and that's not, that's what? I'm so dumb sometimes. All right. Mule's dropping down. Pretty standard opening. Nothing crazy. SCV Scout's going to come in. So the purpose of the Barracks SCV Scout, so when your Barracks finishes, you scout, is you go, oh, hatch is finished. Just before my Reaper pops, just at the same time. That means it's a hatch first. Whereas if that was not finished yet when your SCV arrives, the Reaper stays at home because there could be early Zerglings snaking their way around the map to try and slow down your command center. So Cute little scout, and of course doubles up as a blocker on the third base. The drone comes over for Serral, and he's actually going to go for this base. So he wanted the generic normie third, but instead he's going to take this low ground one. And he's ready to steal the gas if he needs to hop into the safety of that geyser. And Ling's here doing a good job. Queen's out. Does deny a little bit of mining time. That is going to be creep tumor straight away, of course, here. And the Zergling's just guarding it. If the Reaper fights them, the Lings run away. If the Reaper goes to the tumor, the Lings engage. Third base on the low ground. And he hasn't seen it yet, has he? Oh, there he goes. Yeah, he's seen it. He goes, okay. All right. Take the front base, dude. So have you seen my Hellbat Marine timings? I would love your base to be out in the open closer to me so I don't have to attack up a ramp into Banelings. It's like, I would enjoy that very much. Now, obviously, this gives Zerg a head start to their creep. You can get creep up here through the middle of the map faster. Your fourth is much easier to take, but we've seen that with the way time plays, the third base is more of a point of contention than the fourth. Like, time is just so aggressive. Hellions on the way, Marines on the way. Starport as well. Time seems like the kind of guy who always plays bio, by the way, guys. And he definitely adjusts his bio builds to the map, but I don't know if he plays battle mech at all. Like, I can't imagine he's a battle mech guy. It's going to be Hellion Lib opening. Very, very typical. More Marines queuing up. We may see a medevac and an armory and a 10 Hellbat timing. So it's going to be Hellion Lib poking around opening pressure, like a real standard macro build. But we might actually just see Hellions never stop building, Marines never stop building, a medevac. And then you pick up like 5-6 Marines in your medevac, go across, morph Hellbats, and actually do a big timing to follow it up. And if your Lib's still alive, you can like siege this base with a Lib. Hellions can run in here, morph Hellbats there, and run in from there while Hellbats hitting the front. So you can kind of like hit every side, or you can even medevac drop 4 Hellions in the main, morph Hellbats and run them in there. And the idea is if they go Banelings, they want all your Hellions to be in a big clump so they can just jump on you, right? And you're going to spread out and create problems in many areas. Now, we see multiple libs, so it's definitely down that vein of hitting multiple areas. We're not sure if it's going to be the armory version yet. The Overlord comes in and sees no add-on on the barracks, no add-on on the starport. This tells you need a spore in each base. You know there's probably going to be Liberator medevac or Viking medevac, some form of this very flexible, lighter harassment, but very mobile harassment. Medevacs, Vikings, Liberators, all going to be kind of just pushing you back, snipping at the edges. And if you're out of position a little bit, they can do really well. Only one queen in the main. There is a spore ready, though. She's going to be very well positioned. Moves up to intercept. Time already takes a few needles, but look at that reaction. So for him, because he's going for a second Liberator as well, and that's going to queue up, so he's going to try and be poking multiple sides. Now, he's going to use the mobility here. Go to the high, yeah, he can get to the high ground and actually siege that up a little bit, but ooh, the Ling Micro. Serral looking for the surround, and actually a lovely surround by Serral. He says, nah, you're trying for too much. A Hellion tried to run in past to reinforce, and the Queens took it out as well. Liberator's unable to find damage, and look at that. Spore and Queen in position for that Lib, and the Hellions, I mean, he's just getting wrecked. He's not finding the damage. He gets one drone there. The Liberator on that side does get past with minimal damage. His Queen, she's repositioning. This Liberator maybe will find some damage, but oh, it's rough. I mean, he really does a good job of trying to thread the needle here, doesn't he? He does time. Gets one drone there. He's very quick on his reposition, but that's not the damage you want. Serral's so far ahead. Now, I wouldn't say it's over because we saw what he could do in the very first game after the 2-Rex didn't do a lot, but it's pretty crappy position, right? He's got 2 barracks going, 3 barracks going. Does already have a tank out. So the problem is how much of a window of time there is for Serral to cover the map and creep now before the next pressure hits. That's what worries me. So it's going to be when these 2 medevacs pop, we're going to have a bunch of Marines and 2 or 3 siege tanks, and he can start pushing maybe from here or back here, but like he's not really going to be in spitting distance of an actual hatchery. So unless he's able to push deep on creep, I don't know if our blue Terran player is going to have a window to really get in and do damage. And we might have to see him just go to mega late game. And I said I haven't seen battle mech. I haven't seen battle cruisers. I can't imagine, as much as I'm singing the praises of time, I can't imagine he's actually good at late game. Like, obviously he's good because he's a pro gamer, but I don't think it's a specialty. I can imagine he, just from stylistically watching him play, I feel like the next push needs to get momentum and he needs to carry that momentum through. And it's all going to be about like beyond levels of micro, just amazing Marine micro, great tank focusing, good positioning. And the more creep gets out, the less chances of that happening, right? Like a double medevac poke is going to happen. Yeah, 4th command center goes down. He's got to go to late game. I reckon Time would be a mass nuke guy. I don't think he'd be a BC Liberator guy. I reckon he'd be more of a mass nuke guy. And that's a smoother transition when you've opened bio as well. Notice he's got his 4th and 5th Rax reactors only down now. Lingbane Queen. Serral's like, mate, I've got so much momentum in this game. You think you can clear creep? No way. Come at me, daddy. Come at me. Takes out a few Marines for a few Lings. Liberator does a good job. 3 drones. Lost mining time. Oh, God. Time's mechanics are so good, dude. Just keeps repositioning, but Serral, he's keeping pace with this. I would have built a 3rd Spore Crawler at this base. Serral's still on 1, because he actually has good mechanics. That Queen's finally going to deal with that. Good hot pickup over there, but he loses the Liberator on the left, does Time. Armory's going down a bit late. The 1-1 upgrades, not able to queue into 2-2, and we see Serral close the upgrade lead just like that. If 2-2 starts up right away, Serral's going to take an upgrade advantage. Hive and Spire on the way. Hydra upgrades on the way as well. Bane speed's been done for a while. 2-2 starts. Yeah, Serral's in a great position. Remember, guys, Lingbane, Hydra, and ZVT, the Hydras are much more of a supporting unit. Against Protoss, the Hydras are more of a damage dealer. You still tend to see melee prioritized against Protoss, but those range upgrades are much, much more powerful, so you can stand toe-to-toe. Whereas in this matchup, you'll never see Serral wanting to fight toe-to-toe Hydras versus Bio or Bio Tank. Only fighting when they've got Lingbane in front of them. They're there to take out tanks by adding range damage, shut down medevacs, libs, just to add a bit of well-rounded range damage to the army, especially for clearing out the siege tanks, because you know how Lings struggle to get the surface area on them. But Carapace, the most important upgrade, stops your units going down too quickly to the Marines. And he's going to go straight into Broodlords. I mean, when you see Hive and Spire start at the same time, they take the exact same time, 71 seconds to upgrade. So as soon as the Hive finishes, the Spire will finish. It'll start transforming to Greater Spire. And with a lot of tanks out here, Broodlord timing seems like a winner. A couple Vikings are on the way. 2-2's on the way, not too far behind, about a 15-second gap there. Time's trying to clear some map vision with his non-committal squads of just, hey, a couple Marines, a couple medevacs. But Serral's got control, 84 drones, the optimal economy. Creep Tumor barely survives there. And Greater Spire starts. 3 Vipers already on the way. The Greater Spire was a little bit slower, but I'd love to see a round of Corruptors come out. Now, Serral is not the guy who just goes for a Broodlord timing and tries to win the game, but I actually think it might... I really think it might be very powerful. In the situation he's in, and you're up against someone who's just massing Marines and tanks, and 2 more starports and a fusion core go down. It's going to be range libs, almost certainly, potentially with BCs as well. Now, if you're going to go for BCs, it becomes very important to start a second armory and get extra upgrades. But for now, still just adding vehicle weapons, which to me says range liberators are going to be the addition. And maybe going into nukes off the back of that. So Overseer of Serral just veering around. I'd love to see Nidus Worms. 8 Corruptors ready to morph into Broodlords. Serral's going to be happy to trade off a bit of Lingbane here. He does want to clear up about 16 supply so he can morph those Broodies. Got Burrow on the way. He's got Overseers getting in position. It looks like they're getting in position for Nidus Worms, but there's no actual Nidus Worm up just yet. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Broodlords morphing in a very central location, so he definitely wants to start picking away with those Broodlords. I like it. I feel like it's a good idea here. How many Banelings have we got on the ground? Only 12. Serral's got to be real careful with his Baneling count, guys. He has to make that. Greater Spire's been spotted. He knows Broodlords are coming. Reaction, Liberators on the way, range lib, Ghost Academy starts, more and more command centers going down. Time has to just weather the storm. The longer this goes, the closer he gets to equalizing. We see a Spore Crawler trick getting up to 204 supply to morph the last of those Broodlords. Tons of Queens here. I'd like to see more Banelings held in reserve for Serral, because that Marine count is actually insane, guys. That's one thing Serral might not be realizing, is just how huge that count is. Now we need to see some Abducts here on these Vikings. Nicely done. Vipers whittling down that count. Transfuse is good, but he's burning through his Queen energy awfully quickly, guys. Ooh, and those tanks starting to land volleys on the Queens. Now we've still got all 8 Broodlords alive, and the tank line has been cracked through. Still a few Vikings here, but those Vikings, oh my god, the Marines coming in! Oh no! A bit late from Serral. He was so focused on the Viper micro, he just lost 3 Broodlords. 1 went down to the Vikings just before that, but he's still got 4 Broodlords overhead. He's still got a very scary Lingbane Hydra army. Serral crashing through. This tank being a bit of a dickhead. 20 kills, wants to add even more to that. Behind this, the double drop slides in. Serral trying to deal with it. He does not have enough. He's losing a hatch and 16 workers. Oh no, his frontal position being compromised. A lot of Marines coming forward. There's enough Ling Bane, but there's not many Broodlords left. And as soon as the Broodlords are gone, the Marines can run back. The Marines spreading very well. Time handling both fronts as well as he could be asked to. The Planetary adding to the battle here. He's got to hold on to this position. He can't lose any of these bases. Back on the other side, I think it looks like the base went down, but Serral lost 23 workers in the middle of this. His economy is not what it once was, and it looks like time. 8 Vikings out, adding more range Liberators to deal with the ground. He's weathered the storm. He's getting his +3 armor. He's going to be adding more and more of those upgrades on the way. And that backstab with the Marines causing a bit of distraction, a few mistakes there from Serral. The stim forward sniping the Broodlords, it's such a high risk maneuver. And it's why I do really see shades of Beyond in the way time plays. So micro-oriented, all about running in and snapping things off and kind of catching the Zerg in those tiny, tiny lapses of focus. And the smallest mistakes getting punished. It's not rare you see someone punishing Serral for small micro errors, but time keeps doing it again and again. Just whenever Serral's not looking. You know, Serral can't look everywhere at once, guys. Serral's only now getting his worker count back up to where it was. Time steady on 80 workers. A few Broodlords coming in. Ling Bane, Queen Hydra, Corruptor coming forward. Corruptor's engaging. There's a lot of libs. A big spread of Marines and Marauders in a gigantic concave. Is this enough units for Serral? The Banelings need to get those Marines, but the spreads in the midst of this absolute orgy of a battle, the spreads are very good. And these Broodlords, I think, need to get microed to the left a little bit. Those Corruptors, if they can take out the Vikings, I think Serral can maybe barely crack through, but the Queens are gone. No more transfuse. The Queens are gone. Liberators can swap into anti-air mode. Both players have to withdraw. There's no anti-air left for the Broods. And Serral here, not able to take the efficient trades that he wants. He's back up on 83 workers, but remember, he spent the last few minutes rebuilding those workers. He does not have the bank that he'd normally have. That was actually an overextension. After losing all the workers earlier, he couldn't afford to take such a ballsy engagement. Whereas I feel if he had the bank he normally would, if he hadn't lost all those workers, he would have been able to just reinforce, keep this position, and I think we would see time die before he ever gets out enough ghosts. But now he's bought some time, and he's even counter-pushing straight through the middle of this map. An incredibly ballsy push, but you notice how he's just split off the units that can be evac'd? So he's going to see enough units, and he'll just pick up and boost out, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. Unfortunately for him, he did miss 2 creep tumors there. We'll need to scan to get rid of those, and Serral's still got amazing map coverage on the edges. I'd love to see Serral expand and just take this corner of the map and kind of creep through it. Oh, actually, he's got this central base. So never mind. He does have a 5th mineral line available, even though it's a smaller base and only has 6 minerals and 1 gas. It's kind of like a 2/3 base. Infestors are on the way now as well. Ling Bane Hydra coming forward. Ooh, Hydra's trying to take out these libs, but man, without attack upgrades, they do not take them out that quickly. The Liberators don't have armor upgrades either, but the Hydras just do not deal that much damage. And that's a problem you can end up in these later scenarios. Those Hydras really don't pack a punch. The +1 range has not caught up. Time just shoves through. He just jumps on top. Oh my god, the Liberator's just annihilating everything. And that was time. After his 10 Hellions got surrounded. That was time after his 10 Hellions got surrounded. His Liberators killed very little. Serral was so comfortable in the position he was in that game. Now he's down 1-2. And we see time 1 game from closing out the series. Holy shit, dude. That's insane. Yeah, in the midst of the chaos, time actually forgot to get +3 weapons, guys. That was insane, dude. All right, up here in the top right, in the red, representing NC Sports, it is Serral. Down here in the bottom left, in the blue, the barcode Terran. It's time. This is, of course, for anyone just tuning in live, the quarterfinals of the recent Assembly LAN over in Helsinki, Finland. It was a global WCS event, so not only WCS points, but nice, lovely prize pool, and most importantly, a ton of the best players in the world there. Lots of Koreans came down, lots of incredible games, and for me, this is my first time watching it. I do know quite a few of the overall scoreline results, but I don't actually know what happened in the matches. So I'm just as excited to see these matches as you guys. I always prefer, if I was away hiking all weekend, so for me it's the first time actually watching the games, and it's going to be a 2x Reaper. Oh! 2x Reaper opening on New Repugnancy. You've got a lovely ledge there. You've got this gigantic ledge that can be abused. Oh, lovely ledge there to fall back to. You can jump up and down there. You can't jump up and down anywhere in this middle area, but yeah, there's just so many ledges you can. So you can like jump up and down here, you can run back, and then you can jump up and down there. There's lots of cool areas. We've seen this coming back in. We saw Uthermal using this in WCS EU Challenger. Cool to see someone bring it out against Serral here at times. Like, let's do it. Let's bring it out, dude. We've seen how micro-oriented he is, how much of a high-pressure player he is. Definitely matches his style. And look at Serral. He's always scouting for 2-Rex with his Overlords, which means he gets very delayed info on this coming. Now, if Serral were, for instance, to take a quick third before Queens, that would be so bad. Fortunately for him, he's playing relatively safe. Now, his gas is a little later than the really fast 18 gas, 17 pool style. That's just how he always opens. So he doesn't get crazy fast link speed, but he will start that immediately. It still is reasonably quick. These Reapers are going to get out of control. So I wonder if he waits for 3 Reapers to show it. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure as soon as the second Reaper gets there, he shows it. And we might even see him just engaging the Queens a little bit more than you'd normally see. Already fighting these Zerglings, getting some good damage. Forcing a Spore Crawler trick is amazing damage. And Serral here, Queen not being here, does allow that Reaper a bit of a window. Drone's already damaged, and yeah, as I said, these Reapers might just engage the Queen. I would have loved to see them run a bit closer and throw that grenade behind her, but nonetheless, ooh, gets a drone, another grenade goes down. Reaper's gonna fall back for now. They want to keep that healing good. Ooh, you cannot afford to lose that. You gotta allow these Reapers to recycle, and look at that, you can rotate up and then engage them on their ramp as they come back up. It's a lovely little angle. The Spine Crawler there for Serral. He realizes the threat of Reapers coming into the main, so he's already trying to get that Spine, but ooh, good zoning here by Serral. He's got to let that Spine finish. And when it finishes, it does get armor. And it's got 7 range. It can really do a good job, especially with some Transfuse. He's saving for Transfuse, but his Queen's his Spine very heavily bruised. Link speed not quite here. The Reaper's just going absolutely ham right now. And these Reapers looking for damage. Queens, though, doing a good job. Another one popped out. They're dropping injects as they pop. These 2 wounded Queens are 10 energy from Transfuse. That's a very important moment, guys. Spine's there. Link speed is ready. The Reapers are going to back off. There's a fast command center behind this. He's swapping into Marines, so he actually did not commit as much to this as he might have. I would have loved to see Uthermal just massing, like style, just massing Reapers and never letting up the pressure. Because I feel like it's something that, you know, as much as we think Serral's a god and as much as he'd handle it well, I don't know. I want to see. I feel like a time might actually be good enough to just out-micro him there. And you definitely get a lot you can do with those Reapers. So anyway, third base is on the way, droning back up. Serral's trying to catch up in the work account. Of course, this orbital was delayed, but look how fast the medevac is out. Oh, he's going to go for a double... Is he going to go for a Reaper... Once again, setting up for a Marine Hellion timing. Wouldn't it be cool to see like 6 Reapers and a Hellion in a drop? Like 6 Reapers and 2 Marines? That'd be so sick. As it is, you can actually dart these Reapers into the main and create a big problem for your opponent there. So some cool stuff you can do. Serral here, it's like, I'll fight you on your side of the map, man. And it's going to be, yeah, okay, does go for the armory. It's Hellbats for sure. Okay. This is a big push that's going to come, guys. Serral does not have a lot of map vision right now. He's making the safety Baneling nest. He needs Banelings. He needs so many. He's only on 5 Queens. That's not that many. 8 Marines boost out. Hellions and Reapers. The fast mobile unit's going to rally across. He's going to have 4 Hellions as this last one. That's the last one. It's going to get there. He's going to unload that Zergling. I don't know if it spotted this. I'm not sure. He's got to morph Banelings. The Baneling nest finishing right now. He needs to morph Banelings right now. Does Serral realize? He does. I think he does. I think he does. Dude, you gotta make Banelings. You gotta make Banelings, Serral. That third's in trouble. Uh-oh, Cloak's on the way behind this. Banshee's on the way. Reaper, Hellion, Marine coming in. Banelings morphing. Uh-oh, Serral about to be tested here. I don't know if he can keep that third base. The Reaper's here. Let's see how well time can micro them. Nice zoning grenades here. Hellbat's coming into the Banelings. Ooh, the Banelings do take 1 or 2 clumped Baneling hits. I think it's actually enough there. The Hellbats go down. A good hot pickup, but a great hold by Serral. Finally, his defense goes right for him there. with 2 Banelings landing in the center of the Hellbats, 1 Baneling finding the center of the Reapers on the right-hand side of that fight. And the grenades, while they did damage some units, they weren't quite able to do it. Ideally, your Marines are shooting the Banelings as the Banelings get bounced through the air. That way you can gun them down without them actually hitting you. But doing that with non-stim Marines, Reapers, Hellbats, some of the hardest micro to pull off in the game. It's not particularly reliable. And so we can see why that was such a struggle for him to pull off there. Roach Warren's on the way here for safety. Serral realizing more and more Hellbats could be an issue. He's locked down on equal economy. He's so afraid of this follow-up attacks, and with good reason. It is actually Battle Mech behind this, so a good thing he's gone for the Roach Warren. He might actually know this build order. He might say, oh, this build order always goes into Mech afterwards. Banshee, Hellbat, Marine coming forwards. 2 of these Hellions actually in Hellion form. Don't know if he's going to transform those or not. And the Banshee coming forwards. I'd like to see it focus down a few of those Banelings, actually. Oh my god! Huge miscontrol. The lair's not done, guys. The lair is done, but there's no Overseer. He could have avoided those spores, kept that alive. Ling's here poking it on the natural wall. Hellions do defend that. 3rd CC's up. The worker count's good, so even though it looks like Time would like to do more damage with this, I think he's realizing that he's got Serral so defensive. That 3rd mineral line is getting saturated so slowly. There's no 4th for Serral. You've just got to be careful to not throw these units away. You know, if you can keep up pressure, slow down creep, that's amazing. Just don't let Serral get the engagement where he crushes your units and goes back to droning. Roach speed on the way. Roach is building. Serral playing so safe. I mean, this is Serral when he's behind and he's on match. You know, his opponent's on match point in the series. Serral is one of the safest players in the game. And, I'm normal. I'm one of you guys. Good old Changeling just slides on in there. Sees the army retreating. Overseer here as well. Another Changeling in the mineral line. He sees, okay, you've already got your 3rd saturated and 3rd saturating, I should say. And you can see the reaction. Serral's like, oh god, I got a drone, man. I need a 4th base. I need to drone right now. The Banshee, the 2nd one coming in, did already grab a few workers. He's going to grab one more. Get on out of there. Nice micro by Time. Very conservative. Ooh, run. No, Time. Good. Well played. So Blue Flame's on the way as well as Magfield. We've got double armory Battle Mech on the way here. Of course, Serral knows it's Battle Mech. He's going range attack upgrades. He's going Bane speed. He's going Infestation Pit. So there's a few different ways Serral likes to play this, but it usually is based off Roach, Ravager, Baneling. A composition which can crush through Hellion Cyclone if it can get on top of it, if it can close the distance or surround it. He often will grab 1 or 2 Infestors, at most 3. Often doesn't even bother with an upgrade, just a Fungal if he gets the opportunity. And he does love a Nidus Swarm Host if the game goes long enough, but that's a long way away. Right now, it's just Cyclones and Hellions looking to beat him back, pick away at him with the lock-on over and over again. And him just looking to hang on, spread his creep, try to get some map control. You can see he's setting up a Baneling flank. So he wants to come in from behind and trap those Hellions if possible. You can see he's just kind of running around the map, and he's going to try to jump on them on the front. And when they run away, those Banelings are going to get him from behind. So you can see here, Serral's like, he's looking for it. He's like, run to the left, run to the left. But if he can chase them that way, those Banelings setting up the flank. Ooh, the Roach Ravager Banelings. Not a great trade for Serral just yet. Good lock-ons, good micro. But if those Banelings can find the center, just like that, the game turns around. Serral back in control. He sets up the backstab, the flanking maneuver. He waits for it so patiently, and he just shepherds that Battle Mech army into the Banelings. Hot diddly damn, that was beautiful. Oh man. Banshees are going to come out. They've got Hyperflight Rotors. They're going to punish a little bit here by taking down a bunch of these Ravagers and Banelings. As much as Serral got a bit of control there, losing all these Ravagers is a big gas expense. He's already starving. As I said, 3 Infestors on the way. He's going to add a Hydra in, realizing he's going to need some mobile anti-air with his army. Even just a couple of Hydras without upgrades will do it. If you can afford more Hydras with actual upgrades, it'll be great. But his drone count's still kind of crap. Fortunately for him, the 4th base is very late for Time for one of these Battle Mech styles, and tanks now coming out. So that's something that you force. The threat of Ravager Bane just running over your bases is very real. If you don't have tanks, you're on Cyclone Hellion, you need to run away, pick away, run, pick away, run, pick away. So if they ever fight you at your base, obviously you can't do that or your SCVs will go down. And that's why we are seeing a swap into traditional mech, tanks coming in, and 4th base on location gets punished. Oh, that's a big win there for Serral, slowing down that 4th. This gives him the comfort to know that he's actually maintaining some form of parity with the Terran economy. If that 4th was going up unharassed, it would be very tough for Serral. These Banshees doing a great job, by the way. Banshees continuing to build. 4th Command Center's on the way, as is the eBay. The 2 on the way as well. And the Overseer spotting that there's tanks out now. We are going to see Hydra movement speed to start things out. Fourth base trying to get saturated. Spores, spines all over the place. His creep spread has been pushed back. Serral, he's in his corner. He's up against the ropes a little bit. You don't want to be down in supply. You can come back when you're down in supply against a Cyclone Hellion comp, but as the tank count grows, the threat of this army just sieging up one of his bases becomes more and more frightening. Remember though, guys, always keeping those infestors. They're kind of similar to those banelings he used before. They can sneak up behind or from an unexpected angle, drop a fungal, the army will jump on top and clear it out. So it's going to position those just in a very interesting way. Ling's here going for a backstab on that fourth base one more time. The Hellion Cyclone here veering around the map. And lots of Hellions and tanks on the way. 2-2 going to be finishing up here. So a good upgrade advantage for the Terran player. Scan does see a lot of Zerglings. Hellion's going to clean this one up. And those Zerglings just waiting to come in a little bit later in this game. Hive now on the way. He's got a lot of energy. Just roaches, ravages, banelings, hydras. He's starting some swarm hosts now, but the Hellions do find that Ling backstab. He's looking for a good fungal. And if his army's out of the map, the great thing is you can kind of ambush them a little bit. You can force the siege, or you can, you can take him out, but yeah, the Banshees, that's so frightening. He doesn't really have any Hydras out yet. Where's the Hydra count? He's got 3 Hydras. It's not enough to fight that many Banshees. So he's going to try and fungal bile them, but that won't work. They're too fast. Even under fungal, you will not land biles on this unit unless your opponent's not watching. Look at the Infestors, always trying to skirt around the edge of the scan and come in from an unexpected angle, but this push I was talking about, it's very scary. Queens are going to offer some nice anti-air, and they will tank a lot of siege tank shots. Oh my god, the tank's a little bit clumped. They're coming in a bit late here. Some biles landing. They do take out one tank. Another tank looks like it'll go down. Beautiful fungals on the Banshees, but the tank volley answers. The Banshees come in as well. And uh-oh, lots of locusts coming in now. This is a scary moment. Hellbat's morphing. Will the locusts land? They land on those tanks. The unit's going to come in as well. Fungal Queen engaging the Banshees. Biles trying to land. Good Biles. Locusts spreading on the back of that tank line. And both players losing a lot. But in the end of it, it feels like the Zerg resupply should be able to push this back. These tanks are going to get cleared up, of course, not doing any bonus damage against the Queens. If you can get rid of all these Queens, it would be a very nice little pickup. But it seems like the push hasn't been stopped. I don't know. I mean, I think this is... You got to get out of here, time. Run. You know there's a new Locust wave that's about to be out, so... Did take out a bunch of Swarm Hosts. I believe there were 16 Swarm Hosts built. There's only 9 left. That means 7 Swarm Hosts went down. There's now Vipers on the way. Great anti-air there. Cyclones, Hellions, and Banshees are rebuilding. So realizing your opponent's on a heavy Swarm Host force, mostly Hydras, Banelings, Swarm Hosts, Battle Mech's going to be the answer to that. Back into mass Hellion, Cyclone, Banshee. And I feel like this would be an okay scenario if this 5th was up quicker, but we aren't seeing the kind of swarming, overwhelming battle mech that can get so out of control. And it's actually Serral who's finally found his way to 80 drones in a 5th base. It's Serral who's kind of getting these spores and spines up everywhere, slowly expanding. And even though his creep spread's been crap all game, his map control's been really average, he's kind of pushed time back. Reset time's very expensive traditional mech army. Comes in for a roach run by, finds absolutely nothing. And I wouldn't mind a Nidus for these Swarmos, but with how defensive his position is, he's just kind of saving the Locusts for those siege tanks. Might run forwards and just try to throw them from behind these rocks. Vipers are going to abduct a few Cyclones. Notice how he control clicks his Banelings away so they don't blow up on those Cyclones as they get abducted. And he's going to have to throw defensive Locusts. Oh no, that's just Hellions. No Cyclones there. Hellions can't really take out Swarm Hosts. They are an armored unit with 160 hit points. Time there, pulling the weak Hellion to the rear. Has his own 5th base up in the middle. He's only at 65 workers though. He's not at that crazy economy. He's building more tanks now. I actually really like the idea of just mass Hellion Cyclone. If he can get enough Hellion Cyclone, I do think he can kind of do very well here. A few Vikings would be amazing as well. Locusts coming forward. Let's see how Serral micros these Locusts. He wants to find the tanks. The tanks are in the open. Oh, those Locusts going to do very well. One tank goes down and another one goes down. The other two getting very low. Good trade out there for Serral. Remember, it's only 9 Swarm Hosts that he has. He's trying to build more. Banshee's going to fly in on the north, but they run into the Spore Crawler. Hellion Cyclone trying to find the angle here. Banelings, ooh, taking a big tank shot. Banshee's going to try and click down that hatchery. Ooh, you can't let that one go down there. The Banshees, though, are going to have to back off for now. Oh, Banelings find the Hellions. Nice turnaround there by Serral. Just rolling those in when time was not looking. A few Thors. Thors can actually be really good for shooting down Vipers, believe it or not. If they don't get abducted straight away, the Thors can just high impact payload these Vipers down very quickly. Unfortunately, no reacted starport, so you can't really afford to get a few Vikings out. It's just anything you can get to actually trade with the Vipers when the engagement happens. Knocking that gas count down can whittle down the Zerg's economy very quickly. Hellions and Cyclones trying to run off creep here, but they're in a bit of a corner. And good cleanup. Locusts find some siege tanks as well. Serral's in control, and now he's wearing him down with free units. Throwing the Locust Waves, transitioning into Great Aspire and Broodlords. Even a Raven now coming out here, so he doesn't have to drop as many scans on the Creep Tumors. Of course, anti-armor missile can be nice as well. Does take out a Queen, but loses a Banshee for it. And he's just kind of pinned back a little bit too much. Is time. Yeah, I mean, range libs would be amazing as well, but hasn't really had space to get up there yet. I think Servos tells me he's probably going to try and run some Hellions in, morph them into Hellbats, do some more run-bys. I think that definitely is a potential path back into this game. We've got the Nidus Worm, though, +3 attack, melee, and ranged upgrades on the way for Serral. Burrow, Pathogen Glands, Great Aspires done. And he's actually quite comfortable where he is. He says, I've got Hydras, Banes, Swarmhosts, all in large numbers. This is my favorite anti-mech composition, by the way. Once you have enough Hydra, Bane, Swarmhost... Oh! Whoa. That's not how you use it. Essentially, if the tanks are unsieged, you can just force them to siege and slow them down and engage on creep really well. Banelings just wreck Hellbats. Hydras do good generically against everything. And the Locusts, as a free unit, can just wear your opponent down from afar. So what he does is he move commands them, and then he tries to land on the tanks. So he's going to try and land probably here. Just goes there. The Hellions, though, roast them all too quickly. So whenever the Hellions are all around, you can't do as much with that. It's not as effective. How many Banelings have we got in here? He's only got 15. He needs more Zerglings right now because his supply count so chewed up by that Swarmhost count. Needs to make sure he has enough Hellions to deal with the Hellions. Still a lot of Hellions left over there. Good Blinding Clouds to start that skirmish, but Broodlord's now morphing. Yeah, that's going to do very well. Remember, no Vikings, only 2 Thors in here, guys. And he's going, crap. We need these Broodlords. There's too many tanks, dude. I can't fight that army. My Locusts are on cooldown. The Locusts are actually going to go for a backstab on the north side, try to snipe down a Planetary Fortress. If he's quick with the repair, he should be fine. Actually, he doesn't have building armor. He might lose that Planetary. He pulls. Is it quick enough? No building armor versus +3 Locusts. Wow. Devastated. No building armor and no other supporting units meant that just died way too quickly. Broodlord's coming in here. Cyclone's going down. Anti-armor missile goes down. Not going to help the Thors all that much, though. Thors are able to fight okay against those Broodlords, and Hellbats especially going to be able to clear it out. We are going to see that hatchery go down. Now, there is a Nidus Worm in the main base of Time. How is he? He's making a lot of headway, but oh, the Thors go down. If the Thors get abducted into the Hydras, the Broodlords take them down, and now it's just tanks against Broodlords, essentially. Serral pulls the rest of his army to the rear. He says, okay, Locusts, Broodlords, push this back, keep this base and this Great Aspire alive. I've taken a big beating to my economy, but you just lost a lot of army. You lost your Planetary on the north, and he pushes back Time. Time's trying to take this base here. There's a lot of Hydras, a lot of Vipers on his tail, and just getting abducted endlessly. The siege tank's unable to find any safety. That command center is probably going to be going down as well. We see Cyclones trying to do a run by. He went to dive on the hatchery, tried to lock onto that hatch. A couple of Cyclone lock-ons, of course, able to take out a hatchery very, very quickly. But Serral does tie it up there. After a rough, crazy early game, right? Opens up with the insane maneuver of Turax Reaper. And get some good momentum there. A close game. Ties it up 2-2. This is just the craziest series, guys. All right, guys. Down here, or up here, I should say, in the top left. It is, of course, set point for both players. It's time. Representing Newbie, playing from, or hailing from China. Of course, they were playing this tournament just on the weekend in Helsinki. This is the replay pack, freely available. Check out the Reddit StarCraft, the StarCraft subreddit on the Reddit website to find that. This, of course, is ENCE's Serral. ENCE Esports Serral. Easy for ENCE, hashtag. Going through his trademark 16 hatch, his favorite build order. Let's talk about Serral's opening. He likes to go 16 hatch, and that allows him to get his queen out slightly earlier on the natural. He also goes a slightly earlier pool. He goes 18 pool, 17 gas, I believe. So this way he can start both queens at the exact same time, so his injects are synced up. And it means the queen pops out, which means the Reaper has less time to run rampant in his natural, right? He actually went gas before pool that game, though. He went 18 gas, 17 pool this time. Does that mean he's not worried about a 2 racks? Because I feel like he usually goes pool first. Obviously, he doesn't do the same thing every game. That hatch went down on exactly 1 minute 13 at spawning pool. 1 minute 13, 1 minute 14, somewhere there is where that pool went down. So still a very tight spawning pool. He made sure it went down exactly when he had 200 minerals. I actually think that hatch might finish before that spawning pool by a few seconds. Let's keep our eyes on that. I think it will. Once again, a Barracks Gas SCV Scout. This seems to be the favored opening of time here. Who's going to be going Reaper into a Marine. The Marine can obviously push back Overlords, that sort of thing. SCV is going to try and block the third base. He's like, which third do you want? The Drilly Boy is being microed around as much as possible. And yeah, it looks like the queen in the natural actually started a few seconds or half a second earlier. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that spawning pool finished like a second later than that hatchery. So the queen started at almost identical times. And these lings going to come out. Did he? Okay, did build 4 lings. 2 of them had to come down from the main. Does lose a bit of mining time, but you don't want to be doing spore crawler tricks unless you absolutely must. You lose a lot of minerals each time you do that. And you can see time doesn't want to go too deep. He knows the queen's going to be popping. Oh, oh, oh! Oh, okay, forces the spore trick. Nicely done. Serral really wants to put the creep tumor down here so we can spread it down there. Oh, he goes for the snipe on it. Unable to get it, though. Time there, very ambitious. Spore crawler trick gets cancelled. Serral doesn't have a third base. He's left one worker on gas this game, which does give him the potential for some faster tech. Third hatchery is going down there a bit later this game. But of course, it is a smaller map. That Reaper causes a lot more of a response. And straight into a third queen here. This queen, she not only drops a creep tumor, she immediately drops a second tumor. And getting this creep out, connecting your bases, getting it out in front of those bases, it just makes your life against Hellions so much easier. Otherwise, these Hellions can come. And if your creep's only just spreading here and the Hellions arrive, they can kind of just keep your creep in check. Whereas the further your creep gets out, the more possible areas you have to spread creep tumors, the more you can kind of get that all over the map and spread it out. Oh my god! Oh, it's 2 factory battle mech, guys. I was saying earlier, I'm not sure if Time plays battle mech, but he is indeed playing the meta, and that's cool. This Overlord's going to come in for a scout. There is a second Marine, so I don't think you'll get it. But Time has to stop Zergling sneaking in. Look at these lings looking for sneaky liberators or drops coming across. 3 Marines going to shut that down. So he's going to go for a Cyclone. And yeah, and he's going to get... I would imagine he goes Blue Flame first. But he might not even go. They might just go Hellion Cyclones. Indeed, it is Blue Flame. And he's basically just going to keep up the pressure. He has no Starport, no Viking. Oh, good. Okay, no, good reaction. Accidentally attacks the rocks there. He does not want this to get spotted. Another Ling's going to come in. Another Ling, another attempted scout here. Serral's like, what are you doing, dude? Third depot in the wall. No third command center yet. Baneling Nest. Safety Baneling Nest. It's the same pattern. Serral has not been going OV speed, so he's going for a very generally safe build. He does start a lair now. A bit faster than in the previous games. He's going to drop down very early Spore Crawler on the exposed bases. Knowing his natural is an unlikely target for a quick Banshee or Liberator, since they'd have to go through the middle area where it's very dangerous. Only putting those spores on those exposed bases and then dropping a delayed spore in the natural, but very safe play nonetheless because he does not know what he's up against. And Yeah, I mean, we've got a second Cyclone's going to pop out. The idea here is he's just going to be on the edge of creep all game long with this Cyclone Hellion, just fighting queens, picking off at them with Magfield, picking off Lingbane. And as soon as he realizes what's up, Serral wants a Roach Warren, like as quickly as possible, because he wants to get Ravagers out to fight this. But he's going to have to hang on with just Lingbane for a while. 4 Banelings are morphing. Blue Flame's almost done, guys. That's a lot of Hellions. That is a lot of Hellions. 2 Cyclones, 9 Hellions with Blue Flame, and already a Creep Tumor goes down. He's got to take out that Creep Tumor with this wave. You got to take out that Creep. Oh. He's not going to get it. He's not going to get the Creep Tumor. Now that really ruins his follow-up damage a little bit, I think. But obviously focusing on engaging the units for now. Queen getting very low. She does transfuse. Good transfuses, but the queens aren't big damage dealers, you know? They do take a lot of damage here. More transfuses being forced out. The Roach Warren only about halfway done, and already so much damage stacking up. Time just keeping Serral at arm's length right now. He just keeps jabbing him in the face, Serral knows he just needs to absorb these punches. He needs to buy time for Bane Speed or Roaches to be out. He needs more units to wrap around this. He cannot engage. His drones even having to pull back. A lot of them go down. A lovely little dive with just a few of the Hellions. Not overcommitting, but that Creep Tumor from earlier, guys, that Creep Tumor is big. A Ling flank comes around here, and that's going to force Time to withdraw temporarily. Raises his depots at home. He's got a 3rd CC up, a 2nd armory, building more and more factories. That is the haphazard base layout of someone who is in a very high pressure situation. He knows he's got a bit of momentum right now, but he's got to micro this immaculately. We saw what happened in that last game when the Baneling flank ruined his day. He's got Blue Flame. The Ling flank is going to go for it again, and a beautiful surround Serral. Oh my god, that could have gone so wrong. If Time had spotted that, if he'd managed to focus his Hellions on those Lings just before they wrapped around, all of those Lings could have been roasted in one volley. There's no way he would have been able to get the full wraparound, but he just pops the trap at the exact right moment, crushes most of those units, and you know he maintains the position. Time's definitely not out of it, but he gives up so much momentum losing those units, and now you can see he's pulling back, reconsolidating. He's adding Magfield to deal with Roaches. Of course, that gives you double armored damage against Roaches with the lock-on, going from 400 to 800 over 14 seconds. And this command center is landing. Mule's dropping. Raise that depot. Raise that depot, son. Good run bys here from Serral. Buying time for himself to drone up, get some Ravagers up and home. It's 4 SCVs. Doesn't want to lose all these Zerglings, though. Yeah, you want to keep some threat out on the map. Lots of Ravagers are out here. Serral's done a great job of respreading creep. I really do think this tumor not going down was actually so big in Serral's hold. I think Time made a big mistake by not clicking a Cyclone on that. I would have manually locked a Cyclone onto that creep tumor, or just clicked my whole army on it. But, you know, it's unfortunate that he missed out on it. And once again, that creep tumor is going to survive. It's a thorn in the side here. Baneling's jumping on top at the same time as Lings force him to look away. Serral, just the master of pulling his attention to multiple places at once. Now this Magfield will wreck these Roaches, guys, but the Lings coming in from behind. The Hellions are going to have something to say about that, but even just that little bit of forcing the Cyclone Hellion to stutter step, and a few more Cyclones get focused down. Tanks are in the middle of the map. Get back to the high ground. He's going to siege on the high ground. Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, they're too exposed to corrosive bile from those Ravagers. You don't want to offer those juicy targets up. So not a very high worker count for Serral, just 62 workers, but with how much he's been ravaging the 3rd, that's okay. He's now got +1 melee and +1 range on the way. He does not have an infestation pit yet, hasn't found a chance to get that. So it's just Ravagers, Lings, Banes, and he's focused on having enough numbers right now more than anything. He sends another Ling counterattack across, some good lock-ons here, but nice transfuses keeping these Ravagers alive. Notice how he tries to run out of vision, and then whenever the Cyclone Hellion kind of runs into engage, he tries to jump on it and catch Time when Time's not quick enough to run away. The Ravagers here, Lings looking like they want to wrap her out. He's going to go for it, but it does actually manage to take out one more Cyclone, but good micro overall by Time is managing to wriggle out of these scenarios. Tanks on the high ground will keep him alive. These tanks are just YOLOing forward, no F's given. And the Hellion Cyclone's got to be a little bit more careful. Time here playing a very aggressive form of mech. He'd love to push through this army. We've got more drones on the way. Serral realizing with this big Ravager army out, he can kind of buy some time on this small map. Queen's trying to spread creep through the middle, but that's where Time's going to push. Time going to now branch down to the middle of the map, the southern side. He's very worried about a Ravager flank. He's scanning. He doesn't know where the army is right now, but he's going to see these Ravagers at this point, and he goes, okay, all right, there's your Ravagers. And the tank fully on the north side, taking out a lot of those Ravagers. 2 Biles land, but look at that. SCV's repairing. Anytime the tanks don't die, the SCV's going to repair. Awesome use of that repair by time. This is a very deadly push, but there's a lot of Ravager Baneling out. Got to get those Hellions out of there. No tank siege right now. No tank siege. The Ravagers are going to go for it. Serral dives forward. Those tanks awfully clumped. And one of them falls. Another one barely survives. It is getting repaired right now. He's trying to move forward every tank at once. I think he might be aiming for this position. He's going to try to move south here, but he does not have a great reinforce. Time does not have that big a reinforce. Every tank is sacred. Serral, though, losing Ravagers, and they are such an important unit. Will take out that front siege tank. He engages, drops the Biles, disengages. But there we go, the Link backstab. Once again, getting on top of the base, and that's going to pull Time's attention away. 3 tanks fall there as the mineral line gets ravaged, and Time suddenly forced to choose between areas to look at. All of these depots exposed as well. These units going to try to push forward. Biles going to be landing. That tank on the north goes down. The tank on the ramp getting awfully low. Cyclone's getting wounded. That tank's going to fall, and Serral weathers the goddamn storm, and he adapts so well. This game and the previous game, I really want to point out just how well Serral stayed calm during these Cyclone Hellion pushes. Oh my god, his ability to just stay at a lower worker count and go, oh shit, my opponent, like, this is such a scary amount of Cyclone Hellion. It's such a commitment that I just need to survive and get enough Ravager Baneling. He's going to push for the momentum over and over. I've just got to survive. I've just got to survive. And he kind of, yeah, he over and over again was just hanging on. Like this whole fight at this base was just insane. This was an absolutely scary moment. I do think this creep tumor, though, was absolutely vital. I think it was one of those things where things could have gone really bad.
Well, I want to take you over here, Pig, to get our first map cracked down, because we do have the first map decided between these two. Where are we going first, and what are we looking at? So
well, that was the 5th map, Kalaris, but we want to talk about being patient versus Cyclone Hellion, and how it's like fighting versus a fighter with superior reach than you, and how it can be very frustrating because it feels like they can land free strikes on you. But there is a weakness always in StarCraft. It's a very fragile composition. So your opponent's tall, he's got long reach, but he's skinny. He's probably vegan or something like that. Doesn't eat a lot of protein. Needs to eat some more lentils, to be honest. So if you get him close, he will get wrecked. But you need the right answer. Bane speed, Roach speed, Ravagers, these are all units which can kind of chase them off creep. Till you've got those units, you kind of just need to do this back and forwards dance. So if we watch this engagement one more time here, we can kind of just watch exactly what happens, Kalaris. And, I mean, this is a scary attack, dude. Hellions and Cyclones. Well, what do you think about this attack?
things like that, but that's the kind of thing you expect.
You think this is a cheeky strategy? I guess that's kind of cheeky, Kalaris. Okay, fair enough, dude. Either way, notice how that creep tumor gave a lot more maneuverability of these queens to go in and out. But notice how he keeps trying to break the vision. So if we watch this from the vision of our opponent, he needs to keep vision on those queens or the Cyclone lock gets broken. So notice the way Serral keeps trying to dance out of vision to break the lock-on. And Time did a beautiful job of keeping those lock-ons going as long as he did. But notice how Serral's pulling back those queens that get locked on. Breaking the vision lock every single time. And he's just waiting behind the hatch, and he has to even pull the drones back because he's got to wait. He's got to bide his time. And whilst he's doing this, because his opponent isn't coming in, he's got the Banelings there. So if his opponent runs forwards, the Banelings will crash into them, right? And he splits off the Zerglings, cuts off the rally, and threatens that run by that we were talking about earlier. It's such a good move, and we're gonna actually fast forward a little bit here. I'll we'll 8 speed it for a sec and find another one. So yeah, obviously this was the beautiful moment where this could have gone so wrong, but if we go up to this next engagement with the wraparound, it's gonna happen. Yeah, let's take a look at this one. So if we look at this again, Kalaris, check it out. Beautiful wraparound, and like it just could not have been set up any more perfectly. But you're gonna notice this didn't happen in isolation. This was off the back of him threatening the run by, cutting off reinforcements, zoning around. And we can watch that one more time, and you can see after doing all of those things, only then does he come in with that wraparound. And you're going to notice just how he sets this up. He's kind of pushing back with the queens. He goes, okay, pushing back. And he says, okay, it's time to spring the trap. Let's attack into this. These units are pulling north. And notice how he moves past with these lings. He's right-clicking on the ground. And then as he gets in line, he's going to attack move. And those lings are naturally going to encircle this. He even move commanded them down a little bit to make sure they fully wrapped around. A lovely surround, just looking for these engagements over and over again. And even as this game continued, there was multiple times throughout where he did that again and again, right? This was just beautiful. This was so well done. Just look at this, just lings picking away from mine. He says, you want to keep on just picking away, jabbing me in the face? You want a front-on fight. You want a one-directional fight where you pick at me, pull back, pick at me, pull back. But every time he counterattacks, he buys himself time. He pulls his opponent away from him. Every single time he does that, he pulls him back. He threatens the surround. And you see the longer reach fighter, the Terran player, suddenly have to have a lot more respect for what could be coming. Because he's always worried about this flank. He's always worried about this wraparound from this point onwards. And then obviously he messed up by not kind of leaving more Hellions defending his third and that sort of thing. But Serral said, hey, look, you're going to rely on wearing me down with this composition. And what I love is how low he stayed on workers here. He didn't try to drone his fourth. He didn't even finish droning his third. He said, just get enough Ravager Baneling to hang on. Once I get on top of one of these armies, once I backstab you a few times, once my creep gets far enough, then I can transition onwards. But just such patient play. He did it in the previous map as well, staying on about 55, 60 workers for a very extended period. And he didn't even start the infestation bit of the tech. He said, look, we're locked in a battle for dear life. We're both not really on a full big economy. We can't afford infestation pits, hydrodens, nidus worms, anything like that. It's just low tier units crashing into each other, and I need to have enough to threaten you at every moment. If there's any moment where I can't threaten a backstab while threatening the front at the same time, you're gonna run me over. You're just gonna punch me in the face over and over again. I'm gonna get worn down. I'm gonna get pinned back. But as long as you create space for yourself, it's like you're getting away from the edge of the cage, right? You're kind of pushing deeper into the ring. And your opponent, you've suddenly got more space to work with. You're feinting in with multiple angles, and your opponent isn't sure where you're going to come from. It's not as much of a, you want a more dynamic fight. So whenever your opponent has a composition that seems very, very strong, very, very powerful, you always want to try and find that weakness and create some dynamic movement where it's not as simple of an equation for your opponent.
All right, thank you very much, Ping.
Thank you, Kalaris. I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you. So guys, hope you enjoyed that cast. Apparently Serral is a god, but Time is not far behind him and has a lot more variability in his play, which is awesome. Great build orders from Time. And I actually got ravaged by that 2-factory build recently. I tried it recently and was like, oh my god, if they don't scout it coming, it's devastating. If they get enough ravages out early, they can kind of like just jump on you and hold on and be fine. But yeah, that was beautiful, beautiful play. So very nicely played there. Boy. Do. By Serral and Time, both of them. Awesome play. Awesome.